All right, we'll start in just a minute. Just waiting on a few people. Okay. All right, let's go. Before we do anything, and before someone asks, no, I did not intend to start the show this week at pretty much the exact time when the midnight shows of Age of Ultron are starting. It just sort of worked out that way. In fact, I was debating whether or not to postpone this show until the weekend so I could see the movie tonight. But then I figured out, no, let's just go on as scheduled, and I'll see the movie Friday, hopefully, and give people a few days to go see it, and then maybe we can talk about it next week, or I'll do a separate live stream to talk about it in that one, and then that. But yeah, Age of Ultron just hit theaters tonight. And, well, I'm glad at least a few people chose to hang out with me instead. That makes me feel good. Anyway, let's get started. Gotham. Oh, God. Gotham. Episode 21, The Anvil and the Hammer. You know, it's not too late. I can still make the midnight show. No. I'll stay. The Anvil and the Hammer. In the A plot, this Ogre Barbara storyline gets so bizarre, I'm not sure I can even describe it. In the B plot, Penguin's plan to kill Maroni takes an unexpected turn. In the C plot, Bruce learns some unfortunate things about his father. And in the D plot, Nigma disposes of the body of Kristen Kringle's boyfriend at the police station. Guys, I gotta be honest with you. I have no patience for this show anymore. None. At this point, I'm just counting the episodes until the season is over and I can be done with it. This whole Ogre storyline started out inoffensively enough, but here it just turned ridiculous. This whole thing hinges on us caring about Barbara's well-being. Well, I don't give a shit about Barbara. The character sucks. The show is better when she's not there. So when you have Gordon in a race against time to save her life, while I'm rooting for him to be too late to save her, I'm afraid your episode has failed. And I didn't think it was possible for them to fuck up Barbara's character any more than they already have, but somehow they managed it. First, we see her with the Ogre. She's still completely unassuming, having slept with this lunatic after he showed her his torture dungeon. If it were me, that would be kind of a turnoff, but whatever. So then it gets really weird. with him going on about how Barbara is the one, how she's the woman he's been searching for all these years, because there's just something really, really special about Barbara. Bullshit. Bullshit. Sorry, I had something in my throat. It's all very reminiscent of, Lana Lang from Smallville. No explanation for why or how she's so special and amazing. She just is, because the plot demands it. And then, this just makes no sense. He wants her to tell him to kill someone, and if she doesn't, then he's going to kill her. The amazing, super special woman that he's been searching for years. He's going to kill her. Unless she tells him to kill someone else. What? What the fuck is going on? I could not make sense of this if I tried. I couldn't even figure out what he was trying to do here. What is his end game in this? What is he trying to accomplish? I don't know. So, in the interest of self-preservation, she tells him to kill someone. Now, she could have picked anyone. Some vagrant off the street. Maybe Loeb, the corrupt police commissioner that's been making Gordon's life miserable. Hell, Don Falcone, the guy who almost had her killed mid-season. Someone who's got it coming, or who might end up killing the ogre if he went after them. For fuck's sake, she could have told the ogre to kill himself. He's already a fucking psychopath. Maybe that would have worked. You don't know. There were other options here. Good options. But instead of someone like that, she tells him to kill her parents. Her parents, who we know Barbara has a fucked up relationship with, because of that one 30-second scene they had together like half a season ago, where they all just sat in a room and no one said a fucking word. I have so many questions about this, but I don't even care about getting the answers anymore. So Gordon and Bullock track the ogre down after Bullock gets a tip from a hooker in some cracked-out, eyes wide shut sex club. They shut the place down after Bullock witnesses some kind of performance art thing where someone is butchering a live pig with a chainsaw or something. I'm sorry, that's revolting. I mean, sure, we didn't see it, but even the implication of such a thing is just fucking sick. Classy, Gotham. Real classy. So they race to Barbara's parents' house, where they find Barbara walking around in some kind of haze. Jim, you're not supposed to be here. Just leave us alone, Jim. What the fuck is this shit? Did someone turn her into a zombie like Butch was in that one time? Did she go completely Stockholm after knowing the ogre for a day and a half? What the... Jesus Christ, Gotham writers. Shit like this is why everybody hates this character. So the ogre grabs her, leading to the most tension-free standoff I can remember, where all I wanted was for him to just slit her throat so we can all be free of this terrible, annoying-ass, crazy-as-fuck idiot woman. But he doesn't, and Barbara's still alive. Fuck you very much, Gotham. The one silver lining here is that Gordon tells Leslie when it's all over that he would save her before Barbara. So at least for now, Gordon has chosen the right woman. The sane woman. And what to do about Barbara? I don't fucking care. Ship her off to a mental hospital and be done with it. In the B-plot, the Penguin... This stuff was pretty good. I didn't see the swerve coming where he set up the Irish dude, and him orchestrating this just to provoke a mob war between Falcone and Maroni was pretty clever. I like this. That's the kind of thing I could see the Penguin doing, so he's really starting to grow into his persona from the comics. The only thing I wondered about was how did he know that the Irish dude wouldn't tell Maroney who really sent him before Maroney killed him? He didn't. And there was every possibility that that could have happened. It didn't seem like Penguin really accounted for that. And even though Irish dude didn't name Penguin specifically as the guy who hired him, why would that even matter? Maroney's going to war with Falcone. Penguin works for Falcone. Maroney knows Penguin works for Falcone. So isn't Penguin going to be up shit creek regardless? What's more, I don't see why they had to do this whole thing with Penguin buying the bar in the first place. Where they actually set up this failed hit on Maroney was irrelevant. Why did it have to be at that bar specifically? It could have been done anywhere. So the subplot about him acquiring the bar just feels like a big waste of time now. Then Bruce visits Wayne Enterprises to open that wall safe with the key that him and Selena copied, but there's nothing in it. Then a guy walks in, he's been waiting for Bruce, and basically admits to all the corruption in the company, which seems like an incredibly stupid thing to do, even if you are talking to a kid. And Bruce's dad knew about the corruption and went along with it. Oh, no! Then Lucius Fox comes in and tells Bruce that his dad kept his best self hidden, putting the idea of leading a double life in Bruce's head. Cool to see Lucius Fox, yes, but it was just a cameo, and it wasn't enough to save this. I don't like how they've taken this storyline, how the corruption in Wayne Enterprises at an almost cartoonish level. I've been over that. I don't care to do it again. And then there's Edward Nygma, fresh off killing Kristen Kringle's boyfriend. And he decides that the best way to dispose of the body of a man you've just murdered without getting caught is to take the body to the police station. Really, Ed? Really? There wasn't anywhere else you could have taken it? Somewhere you'd be less likely to get found out, maybe? Okay. Probably not what I would have done, but I guess you got to give it to him. The plan, maybe it may have been crazy, but it worked. We still need to come up with some kind of name for that phenomenon, where the character has some batshit insane plan that by all rights would never work in a million years, but then somehow works. We need a good name for that. Because I've been seeing that a lot this season. Anyway, so he's chopped up the body and gotten rid of it, I guess. And then he makes Kristen Kringle think that her boyfriend ran off. And maybe he'll get a date with her now, or maybe she'll start dating some new asshole and he'll kill that guy too. You know, a person is dead here. Nygma committed murder. He seems awfully cavalier about that. I mean, yeah, we're seeing the birth of a super criminal here, but shouldn't he be affected more than this? I mean, this is his first big step toward becoming the Riddler. And even now, he's more preoccupied with getting a date with some girl he works with than with the fact that he knifed her boyfriend to death. Shouldn't we focus a little more on that and what that does to him? Whatever. It's Gotham. And that's a good note to end this review on. Guys, this show sucks. The few redeeming qualities it has, Leslie, most of the Penguin stuff, etc., are not nearly enough to keep me tuning in at this point. I think next week is the season finale, so one more week and then I am free of it. And thank God for that, because I've had all I can take. There have been moments, a few episodes here and there, where the shows seem to be improving, but then we get episodes like this proving that it's not. Creatively, Gotham is a mess. And I'm tired of waiting for it to get better because, number one, I don't think it's going to get better. And number two, I really don't care if it gets better anymore. And I don't feel like getting baffled or pissed off every time it does something stupid because it's a waste of my time and energy. I don't feel like trying to make sense of it because there's no sense to be had. From now on, I'm just going to throw up my hands and say, whatever, it's Gotham. All right. Still taking comments on this one. 1 second. The Save Me one. I was really liking the first half of Gotham this week, especially when it came to Barbara. Okay. Uh, this was the way I've wanted to see this character written since day one, since day damn one. She was strong, defiant, and showing backbone when she spit in and punched the ogre in the face, and that was great. I was thinking that this could be a turning point for Barbara's character. Then the second half happened. He put something in her drink, and that made her go crazy, and we go back to square one. It's like they teased us with how good the character could be, and then just took it away. But that's not even the worst thing. At the end, Barbara has her throat cut, and Gordon tells Leslie that he would let Barbara, who we all know is the future mother of his daughter, die if it meant saving her. What fourth dimension of hell did that line come from? Who really thought it would be a good idea to have your main starring hero character say that? I think they were just echoing the fans on that one. I think most of us would save Leslie first. You would never hear Peter tell Mary Jane, hey, guess what? I would sacrifice Felicia to save you. You never hear Superman tell Lois Lane that about Lana. Neither of these couples are married anymore. The comics. Bruce tells Selena that about Talia, or Dick say that to Barbara about Starfire. It's not what heroes do. It made me feel sorry for Barbara and dislike Gordon. The episode started out promising, but man, it went downhill after the first half. Terrible episode. You have a point. That's really not the way heroes act. Not something that a typical hero would say. And the writers have no one to blame but themselves for this, because they kind of wrote themselves into a corner on that one. It seems like all the fans unanimously like Leslie more than Barbara, and I think they're starting to realize that, but what the fuck can they do? Without some serious retconning, they're kind of stuck, and maybe they're at a point where, hey, they're thinking, okay, maybe we should just retcon the fuck out of this and make Leslie the future Mrs. Jim Gordon. Who knows? That giving asshole. I actually didn't really hate Barbara. I just think she's dumb. I actually kind of don't like Leslie, in a sense, because she's boring. She's approaching Lois Lane levels of holding the hero back. Meh, as you do. Really? You think Leslie is holding Golden Gordon back? You're gonna have to explain that one to me, dude. I much prefer Leslie with Gordon, because at least Leslie is not fucking insane. Not a horribly written character. Okay, Age of Ultron. Get to that later. That giving asshole. I got the impression that he brainwashed Barbara based on how unusually deadpan and unemotional the characteristically hysteric Barbara Gordon is on this show. Yeah, I figured he put something in her drink, in that water. Still. It was weird to have like the second person acting like a zombie on this show. They do it with Butch, and then they do it with Barbara, and it's just, it's just, even if she was supposed to be acting drugged, that's not how it came off. Shouldn't she have been like kind of disoriented and kind of like losing her balance and shit and stuff like that? And instead, she's literally just like walking around like a zombie. Jim, you're not supposed to be here. Is this how someone is drugged behaves? I don't. Whatever. That giving asshole. I think they wanted that bar because he always goes there, so he lets his guard down. Okay, well, that would work if the plan was to kill him. Catch him with his guard down and kill him, but apparently that wasn't the plan. The plan was just to set up Irish dude so he would think there was a hit out on him that failed. And that could have been done anywhere. And to be honest, I think Penguin is planning to kill off both Maroni and Falcone, so he intends to stay out of the way. Oh yeah, I think that's absolutely his plan. He's hoping they'll kill each other and he can reap the benefits. That gaming asshole. A bizarre plan that somehow works is called Writer's Fiat, which is why I mentioned that during the Agent Carter debacle. Basically, it assumes that whatever the hero or villain does will end well because the writer says so, even if it simply makes no sense. I really do hope you review some of Season 2, though, just my 2 cents. Okay, Writer's Fiat. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but okay, thank you. I needed a name for that phenomenon. Now we have one. Cool. Okay. Moving on. Flash. Episode 20, The Trap. Team Flash set up a trap for Harrison Wells and try to get him to admit to murdering Barry's mother. Iris makes a shocking discovery, about which the only shocking thing is that she didn't figure it out a lot sooner, and she has a lot more boring-ass relationship stuff that no one but the writers seem to care about. All right, this episode accomplished some things in terms of the Cisco flashback issue that made no sense. And it works here because they play it exactly the way it should be played. The characters are just as baffled about it as the viewers. They even raise the question of, well, how the hell can Cisco remember something that Barry stopped from ever happening in the first place? Exactly the question that was running through my head. So it seems like there's enough self-awareness on the writer's part here that they've anticipated this issue, and I assume we'll have at least some kind of explanation for it. I don't know if it's an explanation I'm going to buy, but it appears that they do have one, and I appreciate that. Now, the whole bit with them unlocking Cisco's memories with this lucid dreaming gizmo they cobbled together, that was a little hokey. But I prefer this to them just not trying to address the issue at all. I really like the idea of them trying to recreate the conditions of Wells murdering Cisco so as to get Wells to incriminate him. Even if he did admit to traveling back in time and killing Barry's mother with his super speed powers, I'm not sure that would hold up in court, but, you know, they tried. They had a pretty decent plan here. And I like it when our heroes are using their heads and being smart, because Barry doesn't always do that, as you know. More on that in a minute. But yeah, they had a good plan. They were ready for Wells. The only reason it didn't work is because Wells was ready for them. And that was the great swerve, too, where you think it's Wells, and then he gets killed, but then it turns out to be the shapeshifter. At first I thought, well, how the hell did Wells set all that up in so little time? But then they answered that question by showing that he's got cameras everywhere and he knew about their plan in advance, probably. So our heroes are smart, but the villain still gets away because he was just a little bit smarter. So the villain beats them this time, and no one looks like an idiot in the process. That's good. I just wish the writers could have put that into practice a little bit sooner. Barry has to save a bunch of people in a burning building. Okay? He takes one look at this fire and says, I can't save everyone. I don't know what to do. Genius. I'll tell you what to do. Just use your fucking super speed. For crying out loud, Barry is faster than a fucking bullet. He can break the sound barrier. For Christ's sake, if you can run fast enough to time travel, you can run through a little fire and not have to worry about getting burned by it. Hell, it was just a few episodes ago that you deliberately let Heatwave shoot you with his flame gun thing, and you were totally fine. But now, suddenly you see a little fire and you don't know what to do? Come on! Why does Barry have to make the same mistake over and over? It seems like so many of the problems he runs into could be easily solved if he would just use his fucking brain for 2 seconds. It's just irritating that he never seems to grow out of this, especially when he does show the capacity for character growth in other areas, like when he talks to Joe about Eddie and Iris. Not that long ago, Barry was pretty much trying to steal Eddie's girl. Now, he's putting his personal feelings aside and arguing on Eddie's behalf, trying to get Joe to accept that Eddie wants to marry Iris. He's like, well, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Eddie is a good guy and he loves Iris, so why are you against this, Joe? And I like that. That's a real stand-up thing for Barry to do. You know, bros before hoes and all that. I just didn't care for Joe's answer to the question. And that leads me to the main problem with this episode. Everything involving Iris. I've explained a number of times now how this whole Barry-Iris thing, and by extension the love triangle with Eddie, really doesn't work. It's the most boring thing on the show. She has no chemistry with either of them, and the writers trying to force that chemistry has only made things worse. And unfortunately, now it seems that there is no plan to course correct. Barry finds that newspaper article from the future written by Iris West Allen. Iris West Allen? Are you fucking kidding me with this? Guys, come on. The New 52 retconned their marriage away. You don't have to be beholden by the stuff in the comics anymore. In fact, I think a lot of fans would prefer it if you weren't. You've just taken a pairing that thus far has utterly failed to produce any real sparks or even any genuine interest, a potential relationship that has been one of the most problematic things about the show, and told the audience that these two are going to get married in the future, despite very few, if any, fans that I've seen appearing to be on board with the idea, taking away your option of going in a different direction if, say, the Barry Iris thing doesn't work out and the fans reject it because they want Barry to be with someone else. Caitlin! Still something in my throat. I don't know what that is. I mean, this would be like if in Smallville Season 1, Clark time traveled into the future and found out that him and Lana Lang get married. It's just a bad idea. You know, when the writers of Arrow realized that Oliver and Laurel were really not good together, what did they do? They changed directions. They took Laurel out of that spot, made Felicity the main love interest instead, because Oliver actually had chemistry with Felicity, and a lot of it, and this change proved to be so popular that it's actually been incorporated into the comics. Take a fucking hint, Flash writers! At least leave yourselves an out here. The Barry Iris thing isn't working, and you trying to force a round peg into a square hole isn't helping the situation. First, Barry finds out that Iris is his wife in the future. Then the police captain tells him, never get married, Alan. Then he turns around and bumps right into Iris, because this episode doesn't know the meaning of the word subtlety. Then Eddie takes him aside because he's planning to propose to Iris, because everyone just has wedding fever all of a sudden. I have seen shitty-ass romantic comedies that handle this stuff better. And then you've got Joe, who won't give Eddie his blessing to propose to Iris because he knows that Iris is deep down is in love with Barry. She just doesn't know it yet. Give me a break. Why is every damn character on this show except Eddie Thawne shipping these two together? Like it's written in the stars that Barry and Iris are destined to be together. Fuck you. You can't force stuff like this. You have to let it happen organically, and maybe fans will accept it and maybe they won't. But if they don't, then you trying to make it happen anyway is only going to make the fans resent that pairing instead. And then the flashback, when Iris is talking to Barry while he's comatose, and they just have to give her the most obvious fucking line in the world. The same one in every movie or TV show ever made where someone's dying or in a coma or whatever. Please wake up, Barry. We need you. ... I need you. Oh, God, it's every cliche in the book. What's next? Are they going to get locked in a closet together? Is Barry going to have to pretend to be the gay best friend or something? Can we please not do this? Can we please find something for Iris to do that doesn't involve this boring-ass love triangle? Those rare occasions when the writers actually do give her something like that, those are the times when I tend to enjoy her character. But even that didn't work this time. Iris takes Barry aside because she has something really startling to share with him. She's been doing some digging, and she's discovered that after extensive research, she thinks that maybe the particle accelerator explosion is what created all the metahumans in Central City. Dun dun! Well, yeah. No shit, Sherlock. Wasn't that kind of obvious? No joke, I honestly thought the particle accelerator explosion creating the metahumans was already common knowledge on this show. Even if you're not privy to what's going on with Team Flash, didn't you just kind of assume that was the case? I mean, what the hell else could have possibly done it? Iris is a journalist, you know. Part of me is really glad that Iris seems to have figured out that Barry is the Flash now, because being the one person who is totally clueless about everything that's going on is a fucking thankless role and does little more than breed really irritating characters. Again, reference Lana Lang on Smallville. But why can she suddenly tell Barry is the Flash when she couldn't before? Did I miss something here? She's talked to the Flash a number of times now and never figured it out. He was still blurring his face and his voice, so what was different now? I don't know. Maybe I needed to pay closer attention. Maybe I missed something, but I don't know. Kind of a mixed bag this week. I really liked all the stuff with Harrison Wells, Eobard Thawne, whatever. I thought that was well put together. They may have partially redeemed the Cisco flashback stuff by hinting that there may be some kind of way to explain it, and there may be more interesting things in store for Eddie now that his connection to the Reverse Flash has been revealed. But then there was Iris, and yeah, nothing about her work this week. Quite frankly, she's dragging the whole show down for me right now. Excuse me. Ugh, what? All right, Twitter questions. I said, Iris thinks the particle accelerator created all the metahumans. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Wasn't that kind of obvious? At Pedro Lunian replies, why is it that DC female journalists are so slow? Lois took years to look past Clark's glasses. Now Iris took this long to see it? Yeah, that's a strange phenomenon, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe in order to have a lot on the ball as a female character in the DCU, you have to be a superhero. Of course, that wouldn't explain Felicity, why she's so smart. Well, usually. It's a good question, dude. I said, Iris West Allen. Oh, fuck off. The viewers don't like this relationship. Get a clue and stop trying to force it. At Pedro Lunian says, now they made it official. Iris and Barry will be a couple. We won't get to see Barry and Caitlin. Well, not without some retconning. Maybe if they change the future somehow. Yeah, apparently in the future, Barry disappears. So maybe if they stop that from happening, it'll change the timeline and he could be with some girl that's actually interesting. Suppose it's possible they could get out of this, but the fact that they're even doing it at all just... I don't like it. Okay. Still cannot figure out how to get comments on this one. That is annoying. All right. The Save Me one. Do you think that Iris will still know Barry is the Flash at the end of the season, or will they use time travel to change it again? No, I think it'll stick this time. I mean, to do a take back twice in one season, that's no, I don't think they would go that far. I think she's going to find out, and she probably should. It could only improve the character at this point. That giving asshole. The whole thing with the Flash and the fire was retarded. Couldn't he just grab each one and carefully carry them out of the building one by one in like 2 seconds? I know! Thank you! Why couldn't he just do that? No explanation! I mean, just run through the fire really fast. I mean, this isn't rocket science. You're not going to get burned if you go through it that fast. Just use your fucking powers, you stupid idiot. The Iris West Allen thing is not as important as it seems. If they alter history as they seem to be doing, also it means that if they get married for a while, but they could break up and she keeps his name, or something else could happen. Yeah, I guess. I guess there are ways they could get around it, but still, the fact that they're doing it at all just annoys me. I would marry Lana. Girl was hot. Okay, superficially, she was attractive, but the chick was intolerable. It just, I don't know. Maybe if you duct tape her mouth shut. And also, the whole thing with Vibe's dreams, as I said before, could be explained by the many worlds interpretation of quantum physics, which also would give them an out with the Barry Iris problem. Yeah, it seems that's where they're going. I don't know. I heard the producers talking about this in an interview. Apparently, this is going to have something to do with Cisco's future superpowers and how he can get in touch with like other dimensions or something. I'm not sure what they are, but I guess other timelines would count as other dimensions. And it seemed, I don't know. It didn't seem like the most concrete explanation, but I think that's where they're going. I'll wait to see how it plays out on the show, but I don't know if I buy that excuse. Okay. ME2486. I think the problem with the Flash is that he's too powerful. And if he did use his brain, then there would be no need for the supporting cast. That's pretty much what I've been saying the whole time. That's one of the fundamental problems I have with the Flash as a character, is that he's so powerful. I don't see how he could ever be beaten if he was using his powers intelligently. He's like, who could ever beat him? The fastest man alive, he could beat you in a fucking microsecond. He should be able to win every fight in a microsecond. And the only way around that is to make him so stupid that he doesn't think to do this. And it's a recurring problem that just happens over and over again. And if this show is going to have any longevity, he's probably never going to grow out of that. And that really irritates me. I hope that in the second season that they need things to change so that the newspaper they found starts to change in very unpredictable ways, and the team has to find ways to solve them so that the disaster they see no longer happens. Yeah. Well, I think it happens in like 2024, doesn't it? So they've got some time. Maybe they're expecting if they're expecting the show to go for like 10 years, they could actually get to that time period before the show ends. So maybe that's the series finale. Who knows? Aubrey James. I think it would be stupid to turn Caitlin supervillain. At this point, yeah. Now Killer Frost is a villain in the comics. She doesn't have to be a villain on the show, though. I mean, they can make changes. Like I said, you don't have to be totally beholden to what happened in the comics. See, Elsa Morty. I think it's a bit different with Iris and Barry because they have a bigger fan base than the Snowberry right now, at least on Tumblr and even in the polls. Seriously? I should look at that. I should look them up on Tumblr. Wow, that doesn't sound right. That's. Well, I'll have to look that up. That sounds very strange to me. That gaming asshole. Hey, you think that particle accelerator explosion caused all the superheroes? No shit, bitch. Jesus. I know. Like, you have this weird, there's this crazy explosion with all this weird energy floating around, and then suddenly superhumans start showing up afterward when they were never there before, and you think, hey, maybe the particle accelerator caused all this stuff. And she only arrives at this conclusion after a whole lot of investigative journalism. Like, what the hell took you so long? What the hell else could it have been? Jesus Christ. God. Ugh. That gaming asshole. Iris is what I mean when I say Lois Lane class heroic inhibitor ship. She's like a living black hole, pun intended, I'm black, I have privileges, of drama. All right, I won't argue with that. That gaming asshole. The reason they're so slow is because basically if they were smart, then they would be interesting, and we can't have that. Nah. Who wants smart and interesting female supporting characters? That would suck. Yeah, what a travesty that would be, huh? All right, enough about Flash. Moving on. Arrow, Season 3, Episode 21, Al-Sahim. Oliver is brainwashed by the League of Assassins, and Ra's al Ghul tells him to kill Nyssa. And then Ra's changes his mind for no damn reason. So, just 1 week after they told us that Oliver was never coming back, he returns to Starling City in the very next episode to stir up a bunch of shit. And wouldn't you know it, just when Oliver is finally acting like the villain that Quentin Lance has accused him of being, Quentin is nowhere to be seen. Bad timing, Quentin. And yeah, this is a hard one to review. This was by no means a bad episode. But at the same time, I had a lot of trouble drumming up any real excitement for it. It starts out with an admittedly terrific montage sequence of Oliver training with the League. It's well edited, beautifully shot, but it also makes it pretty clear what they're doing to him, breaking him down and building him back up in their own image, and doing so by messing with his head in one way or another. So, we know Oliver is not going to be thinking clearly. So when some League red shirts drag Diggle up to Oliver, I just said to myself, that's not Diggle. And why? Because he's about to get killed. And sure enough, Oliver kills the guy, and then look at that, it's not Diggle. Just some guy. The whole thing just seemed kind of transparent to me. I saw the twist coming because it was very obvious that something was up. Or maybe I've just been watching this show long enough now that I'm starting to anticipate the type of swerves they like to do. And that may be part of the larger problem I had here. I was anticipating things because I'm starting to recognize patterns that the narrative is falling into. There's some evil MacGuffin getting set up in the flashbacks. Last season it was Mirakuru, this season the Alpha Omega virus. Then that same MacGuffin, as well as certain characters from the flashbacks, show up in the present in a way that threatens Starling City. It's the same basic formula as last season. So when Ra's al Ghul pulled that vial out of the hilt of Nyssa's sword, I knew what it was before he told us, and my guess is a lot of you guys did too. It wasn't a surprise at all. And that wasn't the only issue. This whole thing with Oliver getting brainwashed by the League, it's hard to explain, but I just found the whole thing difficult to grasp. Like, Oliver went so dark so quickly that the transformation just felt artificial. And they were working so hard to make Oliver seem lost for good that it made me think there was just going to be some kind of magic reset where they'd take most, if not all of it back somehow, because there's no way this could stick. And lo and behold, that's pretty much what they did here. At first, he's apparently so far gone that he kills Dig. Then, it's not really Dig, just some random nobody that'll probably never get mentioned again. Then he's about to kill the real Dig, and Thea stops him. Then he's about to kill Nyssa, the whole reason Roz sent him to Starling City in the first place, and then Roz stops him. Why? I'm not sure. Roz says that killing her is unnecessary now because he's already broken her, which is not even remotely true. They captured her, yes, but she's still very defiant of them. So, I mean, if you take her chains off or whatever, I mean, you should probably fight them right there. So this thing about her being somehow broken, it's bullshit. But the simpler explanation is that Nyssa is a character the fans like, and we can't have Oliver killing her. Otherwise, we might really start to see brainwashed Oliver as a bad guy, which I thought was the whole point of this, but he's constantly saved from doing the really irredeemable stuff through the magic of plot convenience. It's like the writers really, really, really want us to think that Oliver is a villain now, almost going overboard with it in the process, but then they can't or won't follow through with it, so the whole thing ends up feeling kind of hollow. There were good things about this, though. I like the tease of Damien Dark and how they tied him to a bunch of seemingly random events from previous episodes, as well as the Hive storyline, which is supposed to get a lot of focus next season. That was really cool. I always like when things like that can tie together in ways you don't see coming. And believe it or not, I'm actually enjoying the stuff with Laurel and Nyssa. It's kind of a Ted Grant situation here where somehow, I don't know how, but somehow, Laurel becomes more likable when interacting with Nyssa. It's hard to put my finger on it, but their characters feel like they kind of fit together in a weird way, which is a rare thing for Laurel, who, as I've said in the past, has always seemed to be on a different wavelength than the other characters. But you put her and Nyssa together, for some reason, it just seems to work. I actually like this thing with Nyssa training Laurel. It feels like they have a genuine connection, and the scenes between them work in a way that pretty much every scene Laurel had in Season 2 did not. The whole storyline of Oliver going after Nyssa made sense, and it worked for me right up until the end when they did the take back and stopped Oliver from having to kill her. But the big fight scene at the end was a little weird in that the good guys didn't seem to have much of a plan. They free Lila, whip out some guns, and they have a big fight. And that's it. And what was the point of their... What was their plan if they managed to get out of that situation? I mean, the League would just keep coming after Nyssa. I don't know. Although, it was a really cool moment for Lila when she whipped out those guns. I thought it was great that she actually got involved in the fighting here. My affection for the Lila character continues to grow. Lila's a badass. She's become one of the most likable supporting players on Arrow, and I hope they continue to feature her because Dig married very well. Oh, and Thea showing up with the bow and arrow and shooting Oliver. That was really cool, too. This was not a terrible episode. More like they had a good idea, but the end result was some good scenes and good moments sprinkled into a storyline that didn't quite hit the mark. If you want me to really believe that the stakes have been raised because the League has turned Oliver evil, there are things he needs to do to make that work. And at least right now, it doesn't seem like they're willing to make him do that stuff. so the story is not as gripping as I'd like it to be at this time. Add that to them apparently falling into a similar narrative structure as last season, and a lot of the things that are not quite clicking for me here. And it's really surprising after last week's episode was so damn good. But, there it is. Sorry, allergies. All right. Let's see. At Pedro Lunian. Was I the only one chanting kiss, kiss every time Laurel was with Nyssa? I don't think so. I was getting a little bit of that vibe too. And we know Nyssa plays for that team, so it's not out of the question. This episode was a bit weird. Akio wasn't immune to the virus. Oliver seemed elsewhere, like he was planning something. Yeah, wait. Didn't they get enough? Didn't they get enough stuff to inoculate themselves and Akio? I don't know. Maybe I missed that. I have to go back and rewatch. There was some detail I'm forgetting. Okay. The Save Me one. The problem that I have always had with Arrow is they take Green Arrow and use him in stories that should be Batman's. Well, I'm okay with that, actually, because Batman just has a lot more iconic stories. And it's not like there's a Batman show on TV right now. So if you want to dip into that, you know what, go ahead. I'm okay with it. We know Warner Brothers and DC won't give the rights to a straight-up Batman series because they only want that character in live action for movies. So they always use Oliver Queen where they want to use Bruce Wayne. Hell, it even goes back to the Smallville days. How much you want to bet that Oliver knocks up Nyssa and next season she comes back with a son named Damian Queen? Really good episode, but they needed to dial the Batman stuff back and let Oliver be his own character. When they do, it always works great. Excuse me. Damian Queen, huh? Yeah, wouldn't that be something? So he's got 2 kids he wouldn't know about. Let's see. That gaming asshole. I love how on Arrow all the heroes show up, including Felicity. The not heroic, not ass-beating supporting character, LOL, talk about out of place. Seeing her standing next to Cavalier, Black Canary, and Nyssa was hilarious. Also hilarious because all the girls wear high heels on this show. Not that I'm complaining. You can hear them shuffling around without lifting their feet. When Laurel grabbed Nyssa and basically slid her over to where she was standing, it sounds like moving a chair. Yeah, I've never had... I've never liked when they put the women in high heels, in superhero movies. How the hell are they supposed to fight in high heels? It looks stupid. It's not functional. Just give them a normal pair of boots. And Felicity never wears sneakers. She's always in heels, even at times when when she's going into some dangerous situation. It's like it's not a very practical thing to wear in that situation. I have no issue with Oliver marrying Nyssa. I would, but she's bi in the comics while her sister is straight. So yeah. Oh, sure, she's hot, but doesn't seem like she wants any part of this. So, probably not going to be a happy marriage. That gaming asshole. Nissa seems unbroken. Oh, I'm sure Oliver can break her in later that night. Just ask Laurel, Sarah, and Felicity. But no comment. Elsa Morty. It was not the best episode, but I enjoyed it because Dark Oliver was hot. I had an OMG moment when he took Lila because she's a mother, and that's my weakness. When I heard baby Sarah cried, I got scared. Also, I always thought that the FB were tied to Felicity. FB? What's that? Were tied to Felicity's past, and now I think that this Damien guy might be Felicity's dad. Why wouldn't that be a twist? I think they dropped some hints that Felicity's dad was into like supercomputers and stuff, and I think there was a theory going around that he was going to be connected to Hive in some way. So if Damien Dark could be Felicity's dad, holy shit, what a coincidence that would be, huh? Maybe a little bit too big of a coincidence for me, but you know, who knows? All right. 1 second. Okay, that gaming asshole. I also love how hot Japanese girl, name escapes me, was carrying a goddamn samurai sword through the middle of Hong Kong with no one noticing. Well, I don't think it's illegal to carry a sword. Yeah, who knows? I fucking love Lila. She's my wifey. She's a really great character. She's understanding and intelligent and well written. Agreed. Lila's awesome. That gaming asshole. Oh, if Nissa and Laurel make out, Laurel becomes my favorite character. Yeah, I guess everyone loves a little HLA, huh? Okay. All right. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Season 2, Episode 20, The Dirty Half Dozen. Coulson meets with real S.H.I.E.L.D. and convinces them to let him lead a mission to save Deathlock and Lincoln, who have been taken by a Hydra cell. Gonzalez is okay with this because it's only Coulson's people going on the mission, because Gonzalez is a dick like that. They go on the mission, the bus blows up, Bakshi gets killed, but they save Mike and Lincoln, and manage to set up Avengers Age of Ultron. Last week, I talked about how I'd had enough of the setup episodes and was looking forward to the narrative starting to accelerate. This episode took care of that in a big way. The pacing issues were gone, the action picked up, and it couldn't have happened at a better time, really, because they'd had a number of setup episodes in a row now, and it was time to stomp on the gas pedal, which they did. First of all, something that seemed to slow the narrative down in the second half of the season was the lack of a clear-cut big bad, with Whitehall out of the picture. So it's helpful to get Hydra back in the mix here, as well as making Gonzalez less and less ambiguous in his intentions. He's not technically a villain yet, and I don't know if he'll get to that point, but he's definitely leaning in that direction. Yeah, he's got no problem with bombing the fuck out of the Hydra base with Mike and Lincoln inside it, and he's okay with Coulson going in to extract them because, hey, it's only Coulson's team, so it's an acceptable loss if things go bad, which Bobby is not happy to hear. And then this guy who preaches that leaders should operate with transparency is pissed off to hear that Coulson knows about what he's keeping in the cargo hold of his ship, which apparently was supposed to be a big secret. And then he basically spells out that he wants to keep the powered people at the base so they can be studied or contained or whatever, which is not that far removed from what Hydra was doing to them. So basically, Gonzalez is a big hypocrite, who has ulterior motives and isn't shy about sacrificing a few agents who might get in the way of whatever those motives are. And this is not what Bobby and Max signed up for. And him and Coulson are still in the middle of a big pissing contest. Nothing's been resolved between them, really. So when Hydra discover the Inhumans, like I think they're going to in the next 3 episodes, I think we're going to see Gonzalez's true colors emerge, and there's going to be a big blow up there. Now, speaking of the Inhumans, there's trouble brewing on that front. I love how Raina has known what her power is for all of 5 minutes, and she already looks like she's planning a coup, subtly challenging Jiaying's authority, and she can do it. Regardless of how she looks now, Raina is still incredibly charismatic, and her power is very useful in terms of spotting potential threats before they happen. So I don't think it would take much coaxing for the Inhumans to start listening to her instead of Jiaying, which will probably not lead to anything good. And I mean, this is the kind of stuff that makes Raina such a great wildcard character. And I hope to God they don't kill her off, so she can still appear from time to time, even though Ruth Negga is going to be one of the leads on Preacher now, because she's too good a character to lose, way too good a character to lose. And for the record, I did not appreciate Sky's Raina the Hedgehog joke. Yes, it was funny, but it was also kind of cruel and a dickish thing to say. So watch your mouth, Sky, or Raina will spin dash you right on your ass. So anyway, Coulson's team go on this mission, and we have some great callbacks to season 1 with the original team being on the bus again before what happened. Yeah, it was a little nice to reminisce on that for a minute. And there's this hilarious scene in the briefing room where Ward tries to come clean to everyone. And this is pretty much the most honest and candid he's been with them since he turned last season. And they just completely shut him down. Still glad I shot you. Me too. Should aim for the face. Hilarious. It was nice to have that little bit of comedy before things got, ugly. Hydra shoots them down. And this sequence was fantastic. We see the cloaked bus and these 2 missiles that just barely miss it and then fly out of the frame. But then they shoot back into the frame and blow it away. I gasped. That's a game changer right there, because it's the bus. It's the season 1 set. You don't expect them to destroy it like that. Them using it as a decoy was smart, yeah, but man, that bummed me out. I love the bus. I love that set. Great sequence though, and the visual effects on that were fucking gorgeous. So they make it to the ground in the Quinjet with Coulson making jokes the whole way down, of course, because he's Coulson. Starting to regret eating that Hot Pocket earlier. Why would you ever eat a Hot Pocket? Who would do that? So they break in and they find Bakshi, still brainwashed and ready to comply. And this weirded me out at first because of the way the last episode ended. Because it looked like he betrayed them last episode. But once I thought about it for a little while, it made sense. Him seeming to betray them last week could have been that selective interpretation of his orders that we talked about, or it could have been part of the plan the whole time. They put Mike with him for a reason, so they could track Mike wherever they went. So when he seemed to take out Mike and Lincoln with that knockout grenade thing, it could have been that they were just going for Lincoln and Mike was just caught in the blast too. I mean, if Bakshi was pretending to still be with Hydra, that's the kind of thing he would have done. So there's a couple different ways that this may have played out internally, but ultimately I can buy that Bakshi was still brainwashed the whole time. And I was so hoping that we would get more of Bakshi. So when he died, I was like, no, god damn it! Ugh! Yes, it made sense, but oh, fuck. He was such a good character. And Simon Cassianides did great things with that role. I wanted more. But yeah, Simmons kills him while trying to kill Ward. And holy shit, this is a dark turn for her. And it doesn't feel out of character for her either, which is the crazy thing. Because this has been building for a while, actually. So let's talk about Simmons for a minute. There's this adorable scene with her and Fitz where fresh off the sandwich and that little love note that she left him, Fitz is trying to flirt with her, and he's all, yeah, I totally attacked Ward on the plane. Hunter had to pull me off him and everything. It was one of my more badass moments. You should have seen it. And she's like, really? Wow, that's something. Hey, speaking of Ward, I'm planning to murder him. She's got the weapon all picked out. She knows how she's going to do it. And the fact that she seems so damn cheerful about this is the most unnerving thing. The scene goes from adorable to downright creepy and sinister just like that. Because the woman who used to be the sweetest, most innocent character on the show doesn't just want to kill Ward, she's looking forward to it. Which kind of freaked me out, actually. But then, yeah, during the mission, she really goes for it. And Bakshi saved Ward, and then she straight up murders Bakshi, and afterwards she doesn't seem to feel bad about it. And again, not out of character after everything she's been through. Although, like Ward, I am kind of disappointed in Simmons. I mean, she's interesting as hell right now, but I'm disappointed in her, actually. I mean, Fitz has been through a ton of bad shit too, and he's still more or less the same guy with the same values, whereas Simmons is making decisions based on trauma and anger and fear, and she's letting that change who she is as a person, which says something not so flattering about Simmons, actually. This is what happens when you keep your issues bottled up, Gemma. Just saying. Eventually, they start to come out in really unhealthy ways. And for the record, I still think Simmons has got some big emotional breakdown coming up. I mean, she came pretty close to one this week after Ward let her walk away, but she's still holding a lot of stuff in. And Fitz is starting to get wise to it, so I suspect it's going to happen pretty soon. I hope they won't make us wait until the finale to see it, but that's usually the way it goes. But that wasn't the only interesting thing to happen at the Hydra base. Holy shit. The entire sequence when Skye goes to rescue Lincoln. This was like something out of a first-person shooter video game, and oh my god, it was beautiful. She's weaving around tables, tumbling over things, shooting guys, kicking people, taking motherfuckers out. The camera is moving all over the place, following her as she's taking everybody down, and it's all done in one shot. One shot. No edits in that sequence at all. It's all one continuous take. It is fucking fantastic. If you've studied filmmaking, you know how complicated as hell a sequence like that is to pull off, because there's so many different moving parts, and getting the lighting and the blocking just right for the whole thing, that must have been a nightmare to film. And they fucking nailed it. One of the best action set pieces this show has ever done. Hands down. I'd seriously put this in the same category as some of the fights on Daredevil. It was that good. Freaking awesome stuff. I can't say enough about it. So Skye takes these fuckers out, and she saves Lincoln. Coulson gets what he was after, taking a page from Black Widow in The Winter Soldier last year. More on that in a minute. And Ward actually takes a step toward redeeming himself by choosing not to kill Simmons after she tried to kill him. We saw a nicer side of Ward here, actually. Which is surprising. And him calling Coulson afterward, asking him to take care of 33, who Ward seemed to have grown to genuinely care about because she's a good person, and he thinks that he's not the best person to help her. And it seemed like he really did care about getting her help. This is the closest Ward has come so far to not being a psychopath anymore, and showing that there may still be some humanity left in him. So that's a great character progression for Ward. Now, having said that, if this is all part of some plan that Ward is hatching and 33 is in on it, and they're trying to pull one over on Coulson somehow, I won't be surprised. Far from it, but a part of me does think that Ward is on a level here. And, I wouldn't have gone that far a few episodes ago. And I guess 33 is going to be on the base now. She's going to stay there for the time being, which is totally cool with me. I mean, if we're losing Bobby to the spinoff, which, and rumors suggest that will be the case, then we'll need somebody to replace her. And I like 33 a lot. I think she'd be the perfect choice for that. And then the awesome ending, which was the big tie-in to Age of Ultron. Coulson's other mission was to learn where Hydra were keeping Loki's staff, so Maria Hill could send the Avengers to get it. And that's what Theta Protocol is, something to do with the Avengers. Man, is Gonzalez's face going to be red when he finds out about that? He wasted all this time, devoted all these resources to monitoring Coulson and finding out what Theta Protocol is, then it's something to help the Avengers. Man, talk about having egg on your face, right, Gonzalez? And then, of course, Reyna, who had another vision and got to see Age of Ultron before the rest of us. Son of a bitch. Is it wrong that I'm jealous of someone who looks like a hedgehog? So yeah, if you were hoping for movie tie-ins, you were probably fangasming all over this one, like I was. Coulson giving Gonzalez the spoiler alert that Fury's alive. The Maria Hill cameo, setting up the opening of Age of Ultron, Strucker and the twins getting name-dropped, Deathlock and Lincoln being kept in cells that looked exactly like the ones Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch were kept in the stinger at the end of Winter Soldier. That might have even been the same set, actually. It looked identical to the set in that movie. Just tons of Easter eggs all over this episode. Really, really cool stuff. This has to rank up there with some of the best episodes of the series for S.H.I.E.L.D., easily. Definitely one of the best this season. They had some great visual effects, an outstanding action sequence. They had some game-changing story developments and character developments with Ward and with Simmons going all dark and murder-happy. There's also some really interesting stuff going on with the Inhumans camp, where they seem to be doing a very subtle role reversal with Cal and Jiaying, where Cal is becoming more sympathetic, and Jiaying is now growing more cold and clinical. I was surprised when she said they weren't going to try to save Lincoln. Really? Not even going to attempt to do that? That's pretty cold, woman. And I'm half expecting Reyna to use that against her next week. So yeah, this episode kicked ass. This was exactly what I was hoping for after all the setup episodes we've been getting, and exactly the kind of show I was hoping Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. would be when it premiered last season. Something that could, among other things, expand upon the cinematic universe and flesh it out in ways that couldn't be done in the movies. I loved all the tie-ins, and as I understand it, there's going to be even more of those next week, too. This was awesome. Big thumbs up for this one. All right. Well, some Morty, you got to see Age of Ultron. And at the same time as Reyna. Oh, I'm fucking jealous. Feel for you. I went to the premiere of Age of Ultron on Tuesday night last week. Last week? Damn, you saw it before Reyna. Well, that's just not fair. I couldn't even wait a few more hours to see it. Midnight it was. It was great. Oh, good. I've heard it's been getting a few mixed reviews, which is strange. Okay. All right. It's almost got to be out of order. FBI flashbacks. Okay. All right. Thank you. The Save Me one. The look on Bobby's face when Coulson owned Gonzalez was interesting. Seems like she's really rethinking the Gonzalez being in charge. Yeah, they're heading in that direction. Plus, you have to wonder what's going through Gonzalez's mind now that he knows Fury is alive, and Fury, Hill, and Coulson have been working together this whole time. Yeah, they went to a lot of trouble to kind of set up that Gonzalez is not on board with Fury and Fury's way of doing things, and that would probably extend to Coulson. It would probably extend to Maria Hill as well. So, knowing that Coulson is working with those two, or at least is sort of in contact with them, yeah, he's not going to take that well. I have a feeling that they're going to continue to make him less ambiguous of a bad guy, and probably going to make some calls that are not so nice next week. ME2486. I kind of had a problem with May in this episode. Of course, Coulson did secret things. He's the head of a secret service. Yeah. Okay. If I were in May's shoes, I probably would have given Coulson a little more of the benefit of the doubt. I understand where she's coming from, though. They've known each other for years, apparently since the academy. They've worked together for, probably decades. You'd think there wouldn't be any secrets between them. But Coulson is director now, and he's going to keep secrets from everybody, because that's what a director does. Maybe she didn't really understand that yet, and she thinks, well, if Coulson's keeping secrets from me, Plus, she has had reasons to doubt his mental health this season. They planted that seed pretty early on. So maybe it is a bit of a stretch, but I could buy it that she wouldn't, that she would have a few doubts about Coulson. I could say that. The Save Me one. After last week's episode, people were saying how they felt bad for Cal, but it took only 10 minutes into the episode to show why Jiaying was right to have him removed. Well, there was a reason. They had him removed because they thought he was kind of unstable and it was dangerous to have him there. Plus, they didn't want anyone finding out that Skye was his daughter and their daughter and whatever. At the time, he was calm and lucid and not violent. But they kind of ruined that when he found out that they were just taking him away and sending him off and just basically telling him to go fuck off. So he's understandably angry when he comes back. I would be too. Obviously, he's not going to be calm and rational after they kind of threw him out like garbage. So was he angry? Yeah. Is it understandable? Yeah, because they kind of did that. They kind of did that to him. Michael Walker. It sucks that Bakshi is gone. Oh yeah. Thanks a lot, Gemma. Yeah, thanks for killing that incredibly useful double agent that they'd set up. He had all manner of uses to the organization as a high-ranking Hydromole, and now that's gone. Thanks a lot, Simmons. Speaking of which, it's quite unsettling to see how she's changed. I get it. Grant is evil, but it's a bit out of character for her. No, I disagree. I don't think it's out of character. If this had happened last season, it would have been out of character. Um, I think I talked about this before, but Simmons has been through a lot of shit. A lot of bad things have happened to her, and she's never really dealt with any of it. And this is a character trait that that's that was set up pretty early on. If you go back to watch the earlier episodes, it was there even back then. Simmons has a problem confronting unhealthy or unpleasant feelings. She doesn't really instead of like talking about them and trying to get over them, she tends to ignore them or repress them unless someone forces her to confront them. I think back to the Chitauri virus episode where she almost died, and then in the next episode she was kind of irritable and jumpy and not really herself, and we saw that she was avoiding talking to her parents, and she had to be kind of pushed into it. It's kind of just expanding on that. Something bad happens to her, she tries to compartmentalize it and not really deal with it because dealing with it is painful. Now take that and magnify it. We have someone that she trusted, a trusted teammate and friend, who threw her and her best friend out of a plane into the ocean, which they only escaped when Fitch got himself brain damaged saving her life, which kind of almost destroyed their relationship. And this is the person she's closest to in the whole world. And then, she goes through some other stuff, almost dying when she's undercover at Hydra. Seeing how people with powers can be incredibly dangerous. Seeing another one of her friends who was only on the team in the first place because she got him in, the guy who Coulson said she was responsible for, get killed. All that stuff has been adding up, and she's never really dealt with any of it. She's just kind of bottled it up and let it percolate, and now it's expressing itself in some really unhealthy ways. Elizabeth Henstridge herself said, she said this herself. Simmons is traumatized right now. She's been through a ton of shit that she hasn't dealt with, and now this is the result. And now she's acting out of all that trauma expressing itself because she hasn't dealt with it yet. And this is how it's all come out. And she's acting out of trauma, and she's doing things that she's probably going to regret later because she's not really thinking straight right now. This is what happens to people who are traumatized and don't deal with it. Sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. So I don't find this out of character for Simmons at all. I think this was the plan for a long time. And you can if you go back and rewatch, you can see how this was all set up. But save me one. The issue I had with Real Shield is what gives them the right to call themselves Real Shield in the first place. Agreed. Just because they were on a ship together the day that Shield fell, to me, it makes them seem like unlikable bullies, maybe with the exception of Bobby and Mac. Yeah, I think that's the point. They're not technically villains, but they're not exactly good guys either. There's a lot of shades of gray here, and I think that was the intention of the writers. Let's see. Elsa Morty, watch out for Simmons. I think she's really the one who will take you down if you touch one of her loved ones. Even more than Sky or May or everyone else. She's like a mama bear. I'm glad she didn't kill Ward because killing out of revenge is different in TV shows. Yeah. See, what's interesting about Simmons is that you wouldn't expect her to be dangerous. And I think that's what makes her dangerous because you really don't see her coming. She's she seems so tiny and innocent and happy, and then she'll just stick a splinter bomb in your chest, and that's it. Yeah, yeah. Watch out for that one. She's very deceptively dangerous. That one. Let's see. ME2486. So when Civil War happens, who is going to be on what side? Yeah, I think it depends on what happens in what happens next season. Although I think they've laid the groundwork for Fitz and Simmons to be on opposing sides. I think Simmons would obviously be on the pro-registration side, and Fitz would be anti-registration. But it depends what happens in the movie and what happens next season. But I think they definitely set up that those two will be on opposite sides of this. Okay, Michael Walker, Sky should be a Metal Gear Solid character. How she took out the Hydra agents was badass. Yeah, that sequence was fucking amazing, wasn't it? I can't believe they got that all in one take. But every time Kevin Tancheron directs, they have these really fun, like really innovative action set pieces. I wish he could direct every episode because he always gets really great stuff. Elsa Morty, Sky's single shot action scene was terrific. Agreed. I keep saying this, but people are sleeping on Chloe Bennett. She's really talented. She has something. I didn't see it at the beginning of the show, but I've been a fan of her since 113. Yeah, I think I think a lot of people were kind of hot and cold on her at first. I myself wasn't totally on board with her in the first couple episodes of season 1. I think she had to kind of grow into the character, and they had to maybe adjust a few things and figure out how to write for her. I think she's really good now. It took me a little while to warm up to her, but yeah, she's really grown a lot. As far as Ward is concerned, he's not heartless. He cared about Kara, and he did it for her. Possibly. There's still a chance that he could be working some kind of angle here, but I want to believe that he was being genuine about that. But she's just a tool for Sky and Ward. She will tell Sky things she doesn't know about Ward so that she sees him in a new light. She might tell Sky things. I don't think Sky is going to believe her. Look, if there's any kind of chance of that Sky Ward ship happening, it's not going to happen anytime soon. I mean, she still pretty much hates his guts. And I don't see that changing for a very long time. This whole Ward redemption arc, if that's where they plan on taking the Ward character, it's going to play out over a long period of time, probably the remainder of the series, rather. That would extend to the Sky Ward relationship, if that's even still a possibility. And I kind of hope it's not, actually. I prefer them. I think those two are far more interesting as enemies who are just have kind of like a sexual tension between them. I was never really that into the whole Sky Ward relationship. It was just, I thought it was like, okay, whatever. It's the lead girl and the lead guy who's not Coulson. You kind of expect them to hook up at some point. It's like, whatever. I didn't really see the appeal of it. But when Ward turned out to be a Hydra, and it's like, does he really like her, or is he just trying to seduce her to get the information out of her? And but he might kill her. He might kiss her as soon as kill her, or something like that. It's just I find their dynamic now far more interesting. I'm not eager to part with that. But yeah, I mean, some people do still want those two to be together. I don't know why. If it's going to happen, it won't be until way down the road. Okay. All right. Elsa Morty. The movie came out on Wednesday, the 22nd in France, but there was a premiere at midnight for the impatient ones. That's weird. Releasing the movie internationally like a week before we get it in the States. That's maybe that's like a word. They're hoping for like a word of mouth type of thing. I guess that's the strategy. And apparently the movie's already racked up like 200 and something $million in like the first 2 days of international release. So yeah, it's kicking ass. That gaming asshole. Quake's mom is turning into a real bitch. I think Hyde and Quake need to pull out of this death spiral before something happens to them both, because bitch be crazy. Well, to be fair, she has been through an awful lot of shit. Being dissected and then brought back like Frankenstein, that would traumatize the hell out of me. So I understand her position, but yeah, she's getting colder and colder, and that I did not see coming. That gaming asshole. I'm kind of on Hammer's side. I'm calling them Hammer from now on, since so far we're being led to believe that Coulson is right for no readily apparent reason. I don't know. I just kind of think that they have a valid point, more so than Coulson does. Well, I think the reason is just because it's Coulson's show, and we've been following Coulson this whole time, and we kind of know that he's not up to anything bad. I think Real Shield or Hammer may have had valid reasons to be concerned and to be suspicious of Coulson's leadership abilities, and to suspect that he's not in his right mind. I think those reasons don't really hold water anymore. So if Real Shield or Hammer did have a valid point, I don't think it's incredibly valid at this time. So I don't think they have so much of a moral high ground anymore. Simmons' plan was fucking insane. She's lucky that Ward didn't kill her, and he would be in the right to do so, since she was going to kill him for, say it with me now, no readily apparent reason. No, she had reasons. You know, he tried to kill her and Fitz, and she blames him for her relationship with the person that she's closest to in the world falling apart. You know, add that to all the other traumas she's been through, and the fact that she hasn't really dealt with any of it. You know, she had reasons, and she genuinely thought that she was doing the right thing by killing him. You know, she had that conversation with Mike, where she said, you know, I saw an opportunity to do the right thing, and I took it. So she sees killing Ward as doing the right thing, because she doesn't trust him. She thinks probably thinks he's gonna stab them in the back. And that was her rationale. I'm not saying it was the smart thing to do. But as far as she sees it, she was doing the right thing there. So I could understand why she would want to do it, even though it was probably not the smartest thing she could have done. All right. Okay. All right. We've reached the top. Oh no! Okay. That gaming asshole. This dude I was watching the show with last night was saying that Ward is kind of turning into the Marvel character Solo, which I can see honestly. He doesn't have the teleport belt thing yet, but he has the whole disgruntled former espionage agent turned mercenary thing going on. Solo. Wow, I haven't heard of him since the 90s. I guess there are some similarities, yeah. That gaming asshole. What happened with Ward and Fitz was a lifetime ago. Wow. Less than a year. It's really not that long. And even if it weren't, killing him now on a mission where he's necessary and then killing someone else who wasn't in control of himself at the time, wow, just wow, Simmons. Go home, Simmons, you're drunk. Well, they were on a mission, but at that time, they pretty much cleared out the base. I'm just saying. There probably wasn't a great deal of danger at that point. Oh, and then killing Bakshi, who wasn't in control of himself. Oh, yeah, sure, but Bakshi was no saint before the brainwashing. I mean, he was a bad dude, lest we forget. So, I mean, he probably had that coming for a while. But yeah, Simmons, she's not having a good time right now. Probably more than any of the other characters in the main cast, she would benefit a great deal from some time with a good psychiatrist. Because she's got a hell of a lot of issues that she hasn't dealt with, and that's what's led to this. Michael Walker. This is a bit of a tangent to the topic, but I really wonder if Strucker and List have Brand. Lawless. What? By Brand, you mean Abigail Brand? Lawless? I'm not sure what you're going for here. There was a time when I imagined Abigail Brand being played by Lucy Lawless, if that's what you mean. I have really wanted Abigail Brand to show up on that show. She's like at the top of my list for Marvel characters to use on this show. I really want that to happen at some point. Elsa Morty. I ship Skyward, but I know it's not going to happen right now. I enjoy this new dynamic between them, baby steps. Jiaying is shady. I really don't trust her. And I think she might be a bit ungrateful to Cal. This guy is crazy. He's a monster, yes. But what did he do to her? That's what I don't understand. Well, there's probably some resentment on her part that he let Sky be taken in the first place. It seems like she blames him and he blames himself for losing her all those years ago. And it seems like that's something that they both never really got over, and it kind of destroyed their relationship. On the other hand, he did piece her back together and essentially resurrect her when, after Whitehall took out all her organs and her blood and chopped her up into pieces and threw her in a ditch. So he is the reason that she's still alive. I would think there'd be some gratitude for that, but there's not a lot of love lost between them right now. I do feel sympathy for Cal. I do. Sure, he's a killer and out of his mind, but he kind of had that forced on him. This is a guy who had some of the worst shit imaginable happen to him, and he was kind of forced into becoming something he hates out of desperation to fix all the problems in his life. So he might not be a good guy, but I feel bad for him, actually. I can't hate him, even though he's done some pretty terrible stuff. All right, I guess on to other things. The Save Me one. What do you think of the heat Marvel is getting of not using Black Widow in the promotion and merchandising? Are they not doing that? Well, that's dumb. Plus the Renner comments about Black Widow. I don't know which comments you're referring to. I heard that I heard Chris Evans made some unintentionally sexist comments in an interview about Black Widow or Scarlet. Is that the one you're talking about? Was Renner there? because I heard they apologized. They apologized for that pretty fast. I don't know. I haven't really heard much about that. If Marvel is not including Black Widow in the merchandising and stuff, they're stupid. I mean, she's been one of the big breakout characters in the cinematic universe. If they're not doing more with her, they're nuts. Because little girls would like a superhero in the Marvel universe to look up to. They deserve to have some representation too. So why not put Black Widow in there? I would think they would want to market her more because of that. Because there are so few female superhero type characters right now in the cinematic universe. Now, granted, she doesn't have her own movie franchise, at least not yet, but to underplay her in terms of promotion and merchandising, that's stupid. Do more with her. Okay. And of course, they're all out of order again. ME2486. It's Gotham and it sucks. Did not see that coming a year ago. Sad. Yeah. Gotham didn't start out too badly. I thought the premiere was okay. But yeah, that show just creatively unraveled after a while. I'm not sure what happened. Let's see, I've done all these. Elsa Morty. The writers got a little bit comfortable with the Iris character and thought that her romance with Barry could be enough. She's a sister, so I'll support her, but I need to see more from her. Yeah, I don't. I want to like Iris, I do, but it seems like she's mostly her storyline is just about her being arm candy. Like, give her more of a concrete storyline that doesn't involve being love interest for two different guys, Give her something independent of all that. And it's sometimes they have with her trying to investigate the Star Labs and stuff. That's something, but give her something more, Maybe something independent of the Flash. Just saying. Aubrey James, do you believe the rumor that Tom Welling is to be in season 2 as Superman and Smallville? Wait, what? Tom Welling is to be in season 2 as Superman and Smallville a safe universe? Season 2 of the Flash? No, I don't believe that. I think I heard that he might be appearing as Superman in the Supergirl show. I don't know if those shows occupy the same universe. I kind of doubt that they do. I mean, you had him as Superman in one show with one Green Lantern, and now here this is a different universe with a different Green Lantern as played by a different guy. And then you have Superman. You have Clark Kent, Tom Welling, Superman show up, and it's the same guy but a different guy. Sounds confusing. I heard about it showing up in Supergirl playing Superman, so maybe it's the same. It's him playing Superman, but it's a different Superman. I don't know. Personally, I'm hoping they just recast the role, have Superman be played by someone else. That giving asshole. Many worlds says that every alternate timeline is a separate world, a separate dimension. So that only means that Iris married him in that dimension, but in this one, she could die. Oh, Jesus, please. Or just marry Eddie, or marry Eddie and then die on her wedding day. Every time we make a conscious choice according to quantum physics, we make a new universe where we did the opposite, basically. Then that means that this paper is from some other world, not from the future. Oh, wow, that sounds confusing. Dude, you're making my head hurt with this stuff. Oh, boy. Let's see, I did all these. Let's see. Flashbacks. Michael Walker, I wonder why they hinted to Diggle possibly getting a costume. I know he has no actual character in the DC Comics, but it would be nice to see him get a costume. I've wanted Dig to get a costume for a while. It just seems weird that, you know, Oliver has a costume and Roy gets a costume and Laurel gets a costume, but Dig doesn't. You know, apparently he doesn't want one, but he deserves to have a fucking costume, damn it. I mean, he does actually have a character in the DC Comics now. They introduced him into the Green Arrow comics. But yeah, he should get one, damn it. Okay. Excuse me. The Save Me One. What do you think of the all-girl A-Force comic? A-Force MCU movie would be cool. They would have to limit the number of women, but they already have Black Widow, Captain Marvel, Lady Sif, Quake, and Wasp. Just give Spider-Woman and She-Hulk their own movies, and they'll be all set. I haven't read the A-Force comic. I've heard about it. It kind of seems like fan service to me. Yeah, just like that all-female X-Men team. I don't know. It just seems kind of unnecessary. I mean, what is there a reason to do an all-female team? I don't understand the reasoning behind this. I don't know. It's harmless, I guess. I haven't read it. Not really interested in reading it, but it's. I guess you might get an audience of female fans for something like that. That giving asshole. I wanted to mention this with Arrow, but I LOL'd at how Nyssa is wearing full fucking makeup when she's going to fight Oliver. That's going to be her death as far as she knows against the canonically greatest archer on Earth, and she's tarted up like the last clean hooker in Bangkok with blush and fucking lipstick. What? It's the CW show. They like their women to look attractive at all times. You know, it's one of the that's one of the things you just have to take with a grain of salt on this type of show. They're probably not going to go do too much to make their women look unattractive. They're just not. It's not in their. It's not their MO. So I try not. I see something like that. I try not to think about it. It's just one of the things that you have to kind of tolerate. Okay. Right. That giving asshole. Well, she didn't exactly go out of her way to save Quake. I think she's approaching the title of least likable character on the show so far, since she's not even evil. Really, she's just an asshole. That's worse than evil. And why do you keep saying Hyde is a killer? Who did he kill? because all I recall were those three skinheads from that one episode, to which I say, oh no, what a loss. Did he kill someone else I forgot? Oh no, he's killed a bunch of people. He killed those guys in his office. I believe he killed some people in what was it? Whitehall's office. I think he killed at least one of them. And again, in the mid-season finale, he broke that dude's neck. You know, he's killed a number of people. All right. Well, Jiaying didn't go out of her way to save Quake. Well, I think after a while, if you're talking about when they thought she was lost as a baby, I think the story is that they did look for her for a long time, and eventually Jiaying realized that she was turning into something she hated, and she thought the baby was lost to them. So, and they did cover that later on. She said, she was sorry for giving up. She just thought the baby was lost, and she didn't think she was out there anymore. She's not really evil when she's just an asshole. Again, I think that's by design. I think she's been through a lot of shit, and it's kind of colored her views on a lot of things. And as we've seen, there are a lot of prejudices against people like her and her people, and she's trying to put her people first, and everyone else second. And that's going to make her seem like kind of a jerk at times. I see where she's coming from, and at the same time, I don't necessarily disagree with you. Michael Walker, pardon the misinformation. I just thought back to the flashback to where Bobby, Mack, and Gonzalez became Real Shield, where they had that other chick that I thought was Abigail Brand. I was kind of confused her with Lucy Lawless. Sorry about that. No, that was Isabel Hartley. We saw her in the season premiere. And it's kind of funny that you would think that, because I always kind of imagined Lucy Lawless playing Abigail Brand. It's kind of a weird coincidence. Yeah, all right. Elsa Morty, I agree with the Simmons breakdown. It's been long overdue. She's going to need more than just a tissue. Yeah, a lot more. Can't she get a hug or something? A Fitzsimmons hug, maybe? I hope so. I definitely think she's yeah, it's coming soon, definitely. We saw her almost lose it when she had that confrontation with Ward, and then he says, you disappoint me. He walks away, and then she almost has a freak out, but then she stops herself. And then she compartmentalizes it and she runs off. But yeah, it's coming. Definitely, because she's had a lot of shit happen to her that she hasn't dealt with. And yeah, we're seeing the results of that now, and how it's kind of colored her views on a lot of things. And she's never really confronted what happened to her and Fitz in the pod, and how that was kind of the impetus for this big character change in her, because of how Fitz was changed and damaged and their relationship fell apart. She has never really talked about that. Well, she did with Bobby sort of at one point, but she needs to talk about it, because obviously this is something that's been bothering her for a long time, and she's just kept it bottled up for so long, and she'd feel better if she just got that out, but she doesn't do that. This is a big character flaw, probably one of her bigger character flaws, that she has a lot of trouble confronting with, coping with, and dealing with painful feelings and emotions like that. And she she just tries to repress that stuff, and it's not healthy. That gaming asshole. Oh, Jesus, now the SJWs are inserting themselves into my MCU. Christ. In this extraordinarily litigious society, is it possible to sue an entire movement to stay the fuck away from us, I wonder? SJWs? Sorry, I'm not sure what that is. The Save Me won. I side with Jiaying. Cal is a loose cannon that cannot be controlled. He told half the afterlife that Sky is their daughter when he knew better logically she is 100% right. That's right, he did say that. I think Jiaying kind of brought that one on herself because Cal was being calm and rational and lucid, and he seemed to be in control of himself until she had him sent away without telling him about any of that. So now he knows that they were trying to get rid of him, and he's pissed off, and that's when he reveals that Sky is their daughter, which she wanted to keep secret because now that the cat's out of the bag, that's going to lead to all sorts of problems for her. And so Cal may be a loose cannon, but he's a loose cannon that she kind of created. So I'm just saying it's not all black and white in that situation. Lucky STR8. I literally just came back from Age of Ultron. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Awesome. I'm seeing it tomorrow. I was thinking about seeing it tonight, but I had this to do. I thought maybe should I postpone it until Sunday, and then we could talk about it on Sunday, and think, well, no, let's give people a few days to see it. And plus if I postponed this live stream until Sunday, it was just going to throw off my whole schedule, and that would just it wouldn't work. But yeah, normally in the summer, in like the spring and the summer, I have to work on a lot of weekends, so I end up missing the premieres of big movies, and I always like to go to the premieres or like opening nights. That's one of my favorite things to do. I haven't been able to do that very much last couple of years, but I'm not working this weekend apparently. That could change because the guy I work for never gives me a lot of notice. But yeah, apparently I don't have to work tomorrow, so I'm going to try to see it tomorrow. I hope. There's a show I can get into. That giving asshole. Social Justice Warriors. Okay. Gotcha. It's a radical branch of liberalism that basically amounts to a leftist white supremacist movement couched in third wave feminism. All right. Is this about the Black Widow thing? Not sure how wanting Black Widow to be treated equally among the Avengers cast and wanting her to have her own movie amounts to feminism. I would call that equality, and much deserved equality, but to each their own. And I think that'll about do it. No, here we go. Michael Walker. Two things that also come to mind. Will Sharon Carter make an appearance in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? To a greater extent, Carol Danvers, a.k.a. Ms. Marvel, could be a great tie-in. Well, what's her name? I forget the name of the actress who plays her. But Revenge is getting canceled this season. Now, this will be the last season for that show. So she'll be free. So if unless she scores like a movie or a new show, she could be free to appear on S.H.I.E.L.D. next season, and I would hope that she would, because that would be really fucking cool. Carol Danvers, I'd love it if they could get Carol Danvers on the show. As far as I know, the role has not been cast yet. But yeah, I mean, if they could get the character on there and like have her appear before she becomes Captain Marvel in the movies, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. I'd like to see more tie-ins like that. I don't know if it's very likely. It kind of seems to be how they operate in the cinematic universe, where they kind of debut in the movies and then maybe trickle down into the show sometimes. I think that was one of the mandates the studio put on the show, is that they couldn't use characters that would show up in the movies first or something like that. I don't know. That would be really cool, though. Yeah, I'd love to see that happen. Yeah, I think that'll do it. I think I got to everything. If I missed your question, I apologize. Again, Google Plus always gets these questions mixed up, so I have to go back and just look at everything, make sure if I missed something. But I think that's everything, and that'll be a good place to end it because we're about the 2-hour mark here. And so that'll do it for another week. Next week we'll have Age of Ultron to talk about, or I may do a separate stream for that, or a separate movie review, because I haven't done one of those in a long time. I haven't decided yet, but I will let you know. Watch my Twitter feed for updates on that. In the meantime, thanks everybody for tuning in. Good show tonight. Same time, same place next week. I will see you then. Until next time, later.